Hi, welcome back to the vlog of the Inward Markings Garment Company. My name is Joe. One day my hair will not be shit. Today is not that day. So we are at chapter 25, and if you go to inwardmarkings.com, you'll see the YouTube link there for the previous 24 chapters, which you're best off watching to make sense of chapter 25. So yes, it ended abruptly last chapter. That was entirely deliberate. And just to recap, a number of ghost experiences, synchronicities here and there, probably a couple that I've forgotten to mention, and stuff comes up in between shooting these of synchronicities that occurred way back when that I've forgotten to mention as well, but it's all good. And then my body's rejection of meat. So as I explained last chapter, I've always eaten meat since I was young. I grew up in a household that was, I guess, meat-centric. Korean food is very meat-heavy, or a lot of it is. Well, yeah, there is a lot of meat in Korean food. There's a lot of vegetables as well, but I'm yet to meet a Korean who is vegetarian. I'm sure there are many, but yeah, I've yet to meet someone from Korea who does not eat meat. But I've always considered it since kind of late teen years. It for both health reasons and political reasons, but more recently it was around health. And after arriving in Melbourne, that again wasn't front of mind. The focus was really seeing how things would go in Melbourne and making the transition from the previous stage of my life. And as I said, even cooked my first ever pork roast immediately prior to my body's rejection of meat. So when I talk about rejection of meat, I suddenly, and I can't pinpoint an exact moment, but I just could not tolerate the smell of it, and certainly could not eat it. But smells, I think, forms the majority of taste. And that was, from memory, the first sort of major sign. I have a distinct memory of walking into my mother's apartment and her cooking meat and just feeling like full body disgusted, which I've been disgusted by meat many times in the past, but this was something on another level entirely. And it got to the point where not only that I actually started to make my own food, which I had not been doing so much up until that point, but I made the transition to solely making my own little recipes, you could call them, just like dips, and using legumes and making bean salads and stuff, because that was what I felt. That it was very much feeling based. That's what I felt like, and it was frugal as well. So but it was something that it wasn't so much an intellectual process. It was my body was craving that kind of food and feeling completely turned off by any kind of meat, not just maybe fast food meat or steak, just any kind of meat, and I could not be around it. And so at the time I just accepted. It does feel somewhat silly to be talking about it in hindsight without having documented stuff at the time, but I was just going with how things were going, and not overthinking it, I guess. And I remember at the time deciding to embrace it for health reasons, and it really, like, that rejection of meat combined with everything else that had gone on previously. I remember describing to someone, it felt like I was floating on air. Like, it was, it just further enhanced how I was feeling at the time. And I don't know if that was to do with the absence of meat or just something else, but certainly after that dietary threshold, I was kind of walking around in a more intensified kind of daze, if you like. And I did get it. So anyway, I went to this Chinese vegetarian place that had just opened up in my area, and I don't know why, but I expected it to be, not expected, but I had a good feeling about the food. But once I got there and immediately afterward, it didn't really work for me. And so another establishment that had caught my eye earlier because of its signage and its logo, I just felt compelled to go there, like immediately after the Chinese restaurant kind of wasn't so great. Like, normally I just end up like going home or moving on to something else, but I just felt compelled to go to this restaurant and just have a look at the menu. I don't know why, it just felt completely important. And went in there, was given the menu, looked through it along with the prices, and I said to the person working there, yes, this is the place I was meant to come to tonight. I got waylaid. This is the place. And the woman working there, who I subsequently saw when I went there repeatedly, was so cool. She goes, yep, you should definitely come next time, and just said it without any kind of hesitation. It was just such a really fluid, warm interaction. And so the following Friday, I decided I needed to eat there, and I've looked back at the calendar. I should have written down the date immediately after it occurred. I guess at the time I didn't realise the significance, even though it was life-changing. But from memory, it was one of the first 2 Fridays in September. Hang on, let me pause it and just check the calendar. Okay, so yes, I was accurate. It was one of the first 2 Fridays of September 2018. I have a feeling it was the second one, but one of those two. Now, on that evening, I had not had any alcohol. I didn't drink alcohol at the time. I rarely drink alcohol. That's been the case in my entire life. I enjoy alcohol, but it's just it wasn't affecting me on that evening. I didn't have any particularly stressful incidents during the day, or nothing occurred prior to me going out that night. So I was just in kind of a normal state of being, and completely lucid, as I've been the whole time since arriving back in Melbourne. And it was still light when I arrived at the restaurant. Walked in there, sat down at the counter rather than at one of the tables, like a bar style counter, and one of the staff members came and spoke to me, and she stood at the end of the bar with the massive window at the front of the restaurant behind her, and the light coming through the window just kind of formed this glow around her, which made it notable. and I ended up chatting to her about like a bit of the history of the restaurant and the basis of the restaurant name. And that's when she told me that the restaurant is female founded and owned. So 2 women founded and owned the restaurant, and I felt even better about being there, and shared that with her. And there was this immediate sense of familiarity with this person. I don't know if she knew of me prior to me entering that day. Maybe through social media, people have, mentioned stuff. Very rarely though. But I didn't ask about anything regarding that. But there was just this immediate sense of familiarity with this person. And so after that chat, she took my order. And something great about this restaurant is that there was great music playing, and there was a really great atmosphere and vibe in there, and the music as well was like of a volume that I like, rather than just kind of dull, very ordinary background music. And so that immediate sense of familiarity caused me to feel a particular interest in this one staff member, but I was captivated by the place as a whole, and the other staff as well seemed interesting. There was just something special after I sat down in this place. So I can't remember now what I ordered, but she brought it out, that same staff member, and the food was delicious, still is delicious. I still go to this place like on a weekly basis, and I see that staff member regularly. She's an amazing, I don't know, I need to find it, I need to ask particular questions, I think, because she's just an amazing, a literally amazing person. I don't know if I've met anyone like her in my life. She's just so kind, open-minded, and she embodies joy. She's not alone in that, obviously, but she has it's special. And so just after I start eating the food, entirely without expectation and no warning, every feel-good chemical that I've experienced in my life by either exercise or amazing life experiences or being on amusement rides or drug-related, just was suddenly released into my body. And I have to say that there were chemicals and sensations and feelings that I had not previously experienced. And it all just suddenly rushed throughout my entire body after I've started eating this food. And I wasn't able to keep my head up. Now, how would you put it? I love food. I eat easily, and if it's delicious like this food was, it's no problem. But I just could not continue eating properly, and was just completely, the way I describe it, was like I was incapacitated. It was a form of incapacitation. I didn't fall to the floor, but I just could not keep my head up. And every time that particular staff member came around, it just further intensified that feeling. So that was significant. And one of the songs that I can remember during that particular incapacitation period was a song I've got a long history with, but it was Celebrity Skin by Hole. And that also, combined with everything else, just intensified everything. I love that song so much and still do. A staff member came over to me and said, "Are you alright?" Because I couldn't keep my head up. I said, "Oh, the energy here is so intense." That's all I could say. And she just laughed and walked off. I eventually finished that food. It took me quite a while. And then I said to someone, I remember, "I've just got to leave." And left the restaurant, checked the sky because I thought, is there a full moon or something? I can't even remember now whether there was. And my knees buckled when I got outside. I struggled to walk away from the restaurant, and eventually had to at a nearby area just hold onto a fence, and because I'd lost my breath, I lost my ability to stand. So